You're scrolling through Netflix, searching for something epic to watch, and suddenly, there it is, a fantasy action film starring Vin Diesel and Elijah Wood. Wait, what? You blink twice. Did you miss this one in theaters? You're not alone, because The Last Witch Hunter is one of those movies that vanished almost as quickly as it appeared. But now that it's trending on Netflix again, people are giving it a second look, and many are walking away confused. Is it a misunderstood gem? Or just another CGI-heavy flop with wasted potential? Well, let's break down exactly what this movie is, why it's making waves again, and most importantly, what the catch really is. When you think of Vin Diesel, chances are you picture street racing in a souped-up muscle car, not slinging swords and casting spells in a dark, magical underworld. And Elijah Wood? Forever remembered as Frodo Baggins from The Lord of the Rings, not as a nerdy priest turned magical assistant. So how did these two end up sharing the screen in a supernatural action thriller that barely made a dent when it first came out? More importantly, why is The Last Witch Hunter suddenly climbing the Netflix charts in 2025? The Last Witch Hunter, released back in 2015, was supposed to be Vin Diesel's big fantasy franchise break, his very own John Wick but with witches and runes instead of assassins and bulletproof suits. Directed by Breck Eisner and backed by Lionsgate, this film had all the ingredients of a blockbuster: a decent budget, big names, flashy special effects, and a storyline that teased a secret war between immortal witch hunters and dark sorcery threatening modern-day New York. The plot follows Calder, a cursed immortal played by Diesel who hunts down witches to protect humanity. Cursed with eternal life after slaying the Witch Queen centuries ago, he now works with a secret organization known as the Axe and Cross. Elijah Wood plays a young priest assigned to assist Calder, although, spoiler alert, there's more to him than meets the eye. Now here's the thing, when it first came out, The Last Witch Hunter received brutal reviews. Critics tore it apart for its clunky dialogue, uneven pacing, and over-reliance on visual effects. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a measly 18% critic score. Audiences were split. Some thought it was a fun, guilty pleasure. Others dismissed it as forgettable fantasy fluff. But fast forward a decade, and now the movie is finding a strange new life on Netflix. And that's where things get interesting. First, there's the nostalgia factor. We're in a moment where fantasy, mythology, and supernatural themes are making a major comeback. Thanks to shows like The Witcher, Shadow and Bone, and House of the Dragon, audiences are more open than ever to darker, lore-heavy fantasy worlds. So a movie like The Last Witch Hunter, which might have felt like a genre mismatch in 2015, suddenly feels more at home in 2025. Second, Vin Diesel himself has become more of a pop culture enigma. While still riding the high of the Fast and Furious franchise, he's also dipped into video game development, Arc 2, anyone? Voice acting, Guardians of the Galaxy, and even hinted at returning to fantasy projects. So naturally, fans are revisiting his weirder film roles, and The Last Witch Hunter is definitely one of his weirdest. But here's the catch. While the movie might look good on your Netflix homepage, it still suffers from the same issues that sank it a decade ago. The world building is ambitious but poorly explained. The characters, aside from Diesel's brooding Calder, are thinly written. And Elijah Wood, despite his talent, is saddled with a role that feels undercooked and inconsistent. Even the action, which is flashy on the surface, lacks real weight. It's as if the movie wants to be Blade, Constantine, and Harry Potter all at once, but doesn't fully commit to any of them. Yet, despite all this, there's something oddly watchable about it. Maybe it's Diesel's commitment to the role. Maybe it's the gothic production design, the eerie flashbacks, or the twisted lore that almost clicks. Or maybe, in a streaming landscape filled with formulaic content, viewers are craving something that's at least trying to be different. Interestingly, Diesel has long claimed that The Last Witch Hunter was based on his personal Dungeons & Dragons character. That's right, the entire film may have started as a campaign idea. Knowing that little detail makes the movie even more fascinating. You're not just watching a studio fantasy film, you're watching Vin Diesel's actual RPG alter ego brought to life with millions of dollars. And that brings us to the biggest irony of all. In a time when fan-made content, fantasy world-building, and niche storytelling are thriving thanks to platforms like Netflix, a movie that failed in the box office might just end up succeeding on streaming. But only if people can look past its flaws and appreciate it for what it is, an ambitious, uneven, but undeniably unique ride. So yes, The Last Witch Hunter is back, and people are noticing. But the catch is that even with all its style, star power, and supernatural flair, it still struggles to live up to its own potential. So should you watch The Last Witch Hunter on Netflix? If you're a fantasy lover, a Vin Diesel completist, or just looking for a weird, dark ride on a Saturday night, go for it. Just don't expect Game of Thrones levels of storytelling. It's messy, it's flawed, but it's got a strange kind of charm. Let us know in the comments what you thought. Was this an underrated gem or a fantasy misfire? And if you want more deep dives into the most unexpected streaming surprises, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss what's next. Thanks for watching. And remember, sometimes the forgotten films are the most fun to talk about.